and welcome back to Diesel Mercedes YouTube channel. Here I have in my shop today this lovely 2007 Sprinter. This one is equipped with the Mercedes-Benz V6 3-liter turbo diesel engine. The code for it is OM642. And it badly needs engine oil and filter change. And this is again one of those which almost everybody can perform themselves. The engine oil filter, it's nicely located right here in this housing. And this Sprinter is high enough that everybody, without even jack and any other stuff, can actually very easily reach that engine oil pan and its drain plug, which is right here. I just drove this baby in. The engine is warm, and that's the ideal condition for changing that engine oil and filter. So let's get it started. For good draining and fast draining, it's always good to open this filler plug. This is the filler neck. This is the plug. You can let it sit on it or remove it completely. That depends how much dust and wind is around you. And you can also slightly pull that engine oil dipstick. These little details will speed it up, and it will make sure that most of the oil will flow out of the engine. To release that drain plug, you will need a wrench or socket, which is 13 millimeter. And let's see how tight it is. Yep, that was pretty tight, but that's okay. I will not say it was over tightened. And now I will unscrew it. The bolt is really long, but you can see it, hopefully, nicely coming. This is absolutely wonderful. Now, it's a diesel engine, turbo diesel engine, so don't think when that engine oil is really black that it's some problem. There is a soot in it, and that engine oil actually will be fully black after already like 1,000 miles, so that's not a problem. If your pan, for example, it's not huge and you are not knowing if 13 quarts will fit in it, you can easily, it's not some kind of violent stream of oil coming out, you can easily put that bolt back, go dump maybe half of it, and then come back and catch the rest. So I did exactly what I just said. When it was, my catching pan was halfway, I just went and dumped it. So I will open this plug one more time, and that will be the rest of this engine oil coming out. Now, we mentioned that this OM642 has unusual large amount of engine oil, 13.2 quarts. So that helps it have a long service interval. If you look in the 2007 Sprinter, if you look in your owner's manual, the Dodge or Mercedes-Benz, they will tell you it's for 10,000 miles or 2 years. Here you can see how that bolt was long. That's why it took me so long to unscrew it. Here is the crash washer, which is always good to replace. And while it is dripping underneath, let's focus our attention here. So I showed you that filter, it's in this housing, and you can theoretically do it like that, and it's definitely possible without removing any of these parts. For a purpose of the filming, so I can show it to you better, let's go ahead and remove this entire air intake. You will see it's pretty easy. I will go ahead and disconnect this air pipe using a flat screwdriver. Look how easy is that. I will quickly disconnect these two sensors from the air box so I don't accidentally damage the wire or the connector itself. And now if I move this jumper part up, it should go. Look at it. I put it on the side. Now believe it or not, I will be able to lift the whole part. Let me put this away. So in these two rubber mounts, this goes up. When we will be putting it back, I will lubricate this. Some people try to disconnect this. No need, because also this pipe is just sitting in the rubber mount. Again, I will put a silicone lubricant on it so it's easier in the future, because I like everything perfect. And now, believe it or not, look at it. It just comes out. Well, wasn't this worth of what? 1 minute of work? And not only it will be easier to work on this. Look, all this space. Unfortunately, you will start finding out that the previous work was not done correctly. Look at this air pipe. It's attached to the turbo down there. Let me bring the light. Look right down there. That clamp which is holding this air pipe to the turbo. Look at this. It's not tight at all. It's barely hanging there. It's just too bad. This will basically fall off. Oh my God, look at it. Look at that. This is actually absolutely known problem on the OM642. These intakes, the seals, look at it. So this seal is cracked. It's completely damaged. The clamp was completely loose. So if you understand how it works, the turbo is getting air, but the MAF sensor, which is right here, is giving you the incorrect data because you are sucking false air here by the fail seal and so on. While the oil is draining on the bottom, it's good to move the work here and deal with the engine oil filter. So it is hidden in this housing. Maybe you can see it a little bit from the side. This is the cover, plastic cover. It should be tight only 25 Newton meters, so it should be fairly easy to start opening it. Let's see how it will work. It has that huge filter, which basically is designed for this one, but it's extremely large. It's across 84 millimeters, so I don't have yet such a big one, so I will use this universal and hopefully it will go. So I will put my engine oil wrench on it, and now I'm going counterclockwise and hopefully it will break loose. Oh yeah, so this one was actually not over tight, it was correctly torqued, and I should be able to continue by hand only. As you can see, it's really happening. Excellent, I love that, because when I will finally lift it, I don't want to have any spills, any mess. So I'm screwing this whole thing. Sorry, that's the only angle for the camcorder I found reasonable for you, so you can see something. Do you see it? I have it up, and I will just toss it right here, and we can continue with this on the bench. Here you can have a view of that opening. That's that engine oil filter housing, And here is that top part, the plastic one, with the old filter in it. Make a note, large ring, small O-ring. We will be replacing both of them. So here you will see how this filter comes. This is made in Germany, and it's not the cheap one I could have bought here locally, but I did a special order for this one because it's a high-end filtering media. I believe it's some kind of synthetic fleece or something like that. It needs to come with these two new O-rings. So now I need to remove the old filter, which is here. Come on. Slightly stuck. Okay. I didn't expect so much power. This is in excellent condition besides being dirty. Sometimes the cheap one will be collapsing in the certain area and so on. This might have been actually dealer level part. It's pretty good. And now we said we have to replace the two O-rings. One it's right here. This is the small one. So I'm using my little pick tool. Can you see it? Is it focusing? Come on! Yeah, now you can see it. So let's take the small out. This is the small O-ring. Now we have the big one. Pay attention from where you're taking it, where you are removing it from. I will start cleaning it to the certain level. Doesn't need to be dry and polished, doesn't matter. There is so much through the engine, there is still left so much of that old oil. That's why when you do the diesel engine oil change after maybe 1,000 miles or less, 500, the oil will be kind of black already, but that's not a problem. That's how it works. So that's a new O-ring. It's always good to lubricate it with ideally new oil, whatever. I will put a little bit of the old one. Don't forget that it needs to be in that proper groove. Now I need to install the small new O-ring, and only after that I'm going to put a new filter media on it. This media, it's symmetrical, so it doesn't matter what you put first. Let's put it this way. It goes nice and tight, and this is actually ready to be installed back. Installing it back, it's very easy. You just start catching that thread. This wire is always pushing on it, so carefully align it and start screwing it in. It has a 25 Newton meters. I have pretty strong hands working on the cars all the time. I will not even use the wrench on this. I will tie it by the hand only. Because why? The seal which will prevent any engine oil leaks is that large O-ring. It's not how hard I will tie it right now. That doesn't matter. We are back underneath the vehicle to finish it here. So you can install a new washer on this drain bolt. And look at it, it's still dripping. Why am I showing it to you? I left it here overnight. So it was draining for what, like 16 hours. I came back in afternoon. And it's still very slowly dripping. So that's the way it is. I did maximum for this friend to get most of the oil, which was most of the oil to get it out, but we gotta keep moving. I cannot be here for days. So that's 13mm socket with a small ratchet. You don't want to strip that bolt, but it definitely needs to be nice and snug so it will not fall off. I'm not sure if I previously shown the oil, so this is the condition of it. You can see it's black, but as we discussed on the diesel engines, it's normal, it will turn black. After 500 or 1000 miles it will be pitch black like this. Now this was the engine oil filter, but what's about the engine oil? If you ever try to understand what oil belongs in this OM642 engine, you will go and search the forums, you will hopefully have this owner's manual, and you will hear so much confusing info that you will not even believe. And that's because the Germans love to overcomplicate everything, including what engine oil should be allowed in this wonderful engine. We already mentioned that in the engine section they say engine oil for the diesel engine OM642 is the interval is 2 years or 10,000 miles. But what's about the oil? That's on page 350. So now listen to this. You're supposed to put only that exact oil which belongs there. For the diesel OM642, follow the Mercedes-Benz sheet, and there are 3 of them. 228.51, 229.31, 229.51. Then following oils have been determined to meet the Daimler-Chrysler requirements as shown below. And now there is a huge list, I will not read it to you. And that's just scratching those sheets, because each of those sheets might have up to like 30 different makers and their oils on it. So you will be possibly choosing from like 90 of them. I have chosen this mobile one. I have a 13 quarts of the 0W30, and it's that ESP, which is for emission system protection. For those who are new to the automotive, where do you pour that new engine oil? Where I believe we already discussed that. It's here. Normally this cap is in this position. Be very careful. To avoid damage to engine, oil must not exceed max. So make absolutely sure you don't pour too much. To measure that, here you have a dipstick, but I know I'll let it go overnight, so I will pour all 13. So you simply undo this plug. Here is the opening, and I definitely love to prevent the spills, so I have a funnel like this. I have many of them in my shop, but this one kind of makes most of the sense here. And let's start with the first quart. Yep, it's very simple. It will just take some time. It's a beautiful, clear, synthetic oil. I will just ask you, for the sake of your engine, don't try to cut corners on this and buy some cheap oil, which is actually not approved for this engine. You don't want to end up replacing the one. I can guarantee you that. The price of that will be astronomical. After pouring all those 13 quarts, I'm ready to wipe everything off, install back that filler cap, which goes this way, put the dipstick all the way in, and now for you are done, and you can actually go for a test drive. If it's your vehicle, I will recommend you go for a short test drive, warm up the engine, then come back, park it on perfectly flat surface, and measure to check the level on the dipstick. So Shut off the engine, let it sit at least for 5 minutes, and then pull the dipstick and see that it's on the top. If it needs a little bit more, you can always add a little bit more of engine oil. I cannot go anywhere because, as we discovered, there are many things which needs to be repaired. I hope you find this video helpful and make sure you are subscribed. I have way more coming your way soon. Thank you for watching and have a great day, my friend.